Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me. This is Jana with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we are going to be making this rotating card. Now this is a new style. This is a square rotating card. So this time inside the squares rotate instead of circles or hexagons like I've done in the past. This card I did use die cuts for the squares, but you can use just your trimmer if you don't have the die cuts. So let's just grab our supplies and get started. So for our first piece, which is going to be the base piece, this is going to be 5 inches by 10 inches. And on that 10-inch side, we're going to score that at 5 inches. Then we need 3 pieces, and these are going to be 4 3/4 inch square. And you'll see I've got 2 of the striped and then 1 of the routed paper because I didn't have enough. Then we need 1 piece, and this is going to be 3 by 4. You're going to score it at 1 and 2. Then you're going to turn it on the 4-inch side, and you're going to score it at 1/2, 1, 1.5, and 3.5. Then I'm going to take my pencil and I'll put those markings where we're going to remove those pieces. We'll do that a little bit, but again, where you see those X's, those are the pieces that we're going to remove. So we'll set that aside. And then the next piece we need is a 3 by 3. Now you could do a bigger piece and then use your die cut to cut it out, but the square is 3 by 3, and then that inside piece is 1 3/4. And if you do cut out just a square, then you want to leave 1/2 inch border around the inside of this piece. So you can just cut it out and just line up it and cut out a smaller square, which leaves a 1/2 inch border all around. Then we need 1 piece, and again with a die cut, and this is going to be 2.5 inches, and that will lay on top of this square on the front of the card. So this piece will cover that other square that you did. All right, so we're done with the scoreboard. We'll move that out of the way. And we're going to work on the base of the card. So we're going to put our first piece on, and I want the pattern, make sure you got the pattern going the same way on both sides when you do this. So we're going to glue this down. Put it on here like this. And then you just want to make sure that that glues down. Now on this card, if you can see, the white is sparkle paper, so it's a little rough. You can see it on there. So I'm just making sure that that glue is down. Now on that piece, you're going to flip it. So now it's going to be on the left side and the inside of the card. And we're going to use this pattern paper. It's going to be on the inside left of the card. And then we'll secure that down. And then I'm just making sure again that that glue is pushed all the way to those edges. Now this is where you're going to do the die cuts. If you want to do the die cut on here, you can just line this up. I'm going to do it more on the left-hand side. So you only want about a 1/2 inch off of the edge. And then this is the 3-inch die cut. So you could just cut this if you don't have your die cut set, or you can just use a die cut like I'm using here. So I'm just going to make sure this is even. I'm going to turn it. I want to make sure it's even around the edges. Just make sure I got it right in the middle. And let's come down just a little bit. So once you have it, I'm just using this wall tape. This is, it sticks really good, but not too good that it pulls up on my paper. So I'm just going to put that down, make sure that's straight. I'm going to turn it just so I can make sure the square is even again, and then we're going to tape a piece at the bottom. And then I'm going to go run this through the machine. Now you probably want to run it a couple times through because it is going through 3 pieces. And then that is the piece that we have once we cut it out. So now I'm going to take this and we're going to fold it in half and crease out that fold. And then on the inside piece, we're going to put that other paper. So it's going to sit in there just like this. I'm going to turn it so that my actually lines are even, so you can't even see that there's a hole in the card right now. And then we'll glue this piece down. I'm going to lay this down on the card. And then I'm not going to make sure it's all the way down. And I'm just going to line up those lines again. Okay, that's perfect. All right. So now for the mechanism, we're going to cut out those pieces again. So anywhere there's an X, so I'm just going to cut on those score lines on the 1 and 2 inch score line. And then you're going to cut the 4 lines on the side. Then you can turn it either way you want to and cut off that first tab, then cut off half of that long one, and then the third tab. So that's what you'll have on one side, and then just do the other side. Oh, I already cut that one. Right, so that one's done. Cut off this half of this one, and then cut it at that line. And then we'll cut the other 2 lines. And then just turn it, cut that first arm off, and then the third arm off. And that is the piece that you'll have for the mechanism. All right, for the mechanism, we're going to fold in those 2 longer arms first. And those are just to help add the weight to the mechanism so it doesn't sag. And then we're going to glue those down. And you just want to make sure they're secure. Make sure there's no extra glue on there so it doesn't get stuck to the card. And now we're going to score this. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard again. And we're going to just do those diagonal score marks. So we're going to go from corner to corner on both sides. So you just want to line it up, make sure you got your edges lined up, and then just do your crease, and then turn it, making sure you got your lines again lined up, and then just score it again. So you'll just put an X to that center of that box. Then just fold that down, making sure that it's straight, and then crease it out. Fold it the other direction. Again, making sure it's straight. Then you can fold the first flap in, crease it out. And then they will fold in on themselves. So just kind of work them. And then just squeeze it together. Turn it over, make sure they're not overhanging. And then just crease out that diamond shape or that arrow point. And then the last one at the bottom, just crease that and fold that too. And this is how the mechanism will work. All right, so we're going to put this in the center of the card. So I'm going to measure, this card is 5 inches, so I'm going to put a mark at 2.5. And then on the piece itself, because it is an inch, we're going to put it just right in the center too. And then that flap, we're going to just glue that flap down. So put glue on just a little flap. Lay it inside the card. So it lines up with that little mark you made. Make sure it's all the way to the edge and then just push that down. Now you want to make sure there's no glue over the top so it doesn't get caught on your paper and rip. And then just crease that out. Now for the bigger 3-inch squares, you can see this will fit directly inside there. And because there's no pattern on here, because it's different paper, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be lined up in any way. But you just want to make sure that it does fit in there securely. So you're going to put it underneath that little tab, line it up so it fits in that square. And now it's under that little mechanism. And then you're just going to glue one arm down. And if you've made this card before with a circle card and you're going to put another piece on that other arm, you can. I did it later, so it's a little bit more difficult to do. So you can do it any way that is comfortable for you. So I'm just putting glue right here on this end. Again, I'll make sure everything's lined up, and then I'm just going to push that down and then just secure that piece down. And then as you can see, once you open it and it's secure, it will spin. So I'm just going to make sure. Now this, because it's a square, it kind of does not fall directly back in no matter how well you get it straight. So you just want to make sure that before you glue that bottom piece, that is in there and it's laying perfectly. So just keep this flat like I am. Put glue on that last tab. And then we're just going to close the card. But I think I'm going to turn the card just so you can see it just a little bit better. So I want to make sure that piece is lined up and it fits in that window nicely. And then just close the card on itself. That helps to make sure that that card will open properly. And there you have it. All right, then for the top piece, so this piece is going to go on here. So you can see you're not going to see any of the mechanism. But before we work on that, we're going to work on the inside of the card. So I have just a bow that I'm going to put on the top of the box. Now, again, when I do this, I want to make sure that it's not going to stick out of the card when the card is closed. And that it also will not hit the mechanism on the center of the card when it's opened. This one's got a lot of room to move, so I'm just probably going to put it right in the middle. And I'm just going to glue it down. This is a double bow that I made. I just cut out 2 of them. You can see the card, that bow will fit in there and just does just good. It just slides right underneath. So it doesn't get caught on the side of the card when you open the card. Then again, this piece is going to go on the front. But before I do that, I'm going to put another package on that other arm. Now, again, you could have done this before you glued it down, but I didn't. So it's going to make it just a little bit more difficult. But I want to make sure that when it's down there, that it's okay if it sticks up when the card is open, but when the card is closed. So I'm going to just kind of play with this just for a second and make sure that it will fit. And I'm just going to glue it to that other yellow arm. And I'm only going to glue half it because I don't want to lift up that square. And that'll be enough to secure it. So we're just going to put it all the way to the edge and then just glue that down. Now I'm going to close the card to make sure that it doesn't get in the way, and it doesn't. So it will move freely. And again, this purple or the green piece is going to be a top. So you're not going to see that hole that's in the middle of the square on the center one. All right, so this piece again is going to get glued right to the front. You just want to make sure that it's even and secure. And as you see, as you open it, then you've got your 2 little rotating boxes, which looks really cute. Again, now you could add more to the bottom. I just didn't. So I didn't have any more smaller bows, and the bow kind of gets in the way in the bottom. But I did draw these 2 little piggies. So I've got the 1 piggy on the front, and I'm going to just glue him right on the corner. I don't want to glue him all the way down right now. So I'm just going to put him down, lift up the lid, and I'm just going to do a pencil mark where I don't want to put any glue. And then to put him back on there, I'm just going to, again, just glue him back down, and just so I see that pencil line. All right, then for the inside, I took and I did a reverse image of him. And I changed just his expression just a little bit, and then he's going to be on the inside. So I'll glue this one down, making sure that we glue the other side of him to his head so it matches, so that his lines, the edges line up. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, then for the front, I also have the balloons. It's like they got away from him. So I'm going to put these all the way up on the card on the top. And these will get glued all the way down. So that's the basic mechanism of the card. Then I decided that it needed just a little bit more flair. So I grabbed a bunch of paper and I cut out 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch pieces of paper. And so I'm just going to put some confetti on the card, like it confetti blew up the card. So just kind of lay a couple pieces around just to see. You want to make sure that they don't get in the way and that they don't interfere with opening and closing of the card. Right, so I'm just going to glue all these down. And this is just from scraps of paper that I had. So they can be any color. We'll glue just a couple more down. Now this one might get in the way of the card. We'll see in a minute. Oh, it looks like it's clearing it. Okay. I'm also going to do some on the front. So I'm just going to put just a bunch around. And then I decided I wanted to overlap just a couple. So I'm just going to overlap just a couple, just so it looks like there's extra confetti on here. I'll do a couple overlaps on the inside. And that is it. That is the card that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And remember, if you want to sign up for my newsletter, please email me. Have a great day, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.